Football, more than any other sport, has a cruel relationship with certainty. It waits patiently. It allows narratives to grow. It lets patterns repeat until people begin to believe they are permanent. And then, in one night, it destroys them. For months, Arsenal had been building something that felt untouchable. A fortress at the Emirates, a defense that refused to crack, a title challenge that looked mature, controlled, inevitable. Manchester United were not supposed to be part of this story. They were meant to be background noise, a fallen giant still searching for direction, a team in transition, stumbling through ideas, managers, and half-finished rebuilds. But football does not care about expectation, because on this night, at the Emirates, Manchester United didn't arrive to survive. They arrived to take something. And at the center of it all stood a man few expected to change anything, Michael Carrick. For years, Manchester United's biggest issue wasn't talent, it wasn't money, it wasn't even tactics, it was identity. Since Sir Alex Ferguson left, United became a club that reacted instead of imposed. They chased solutions rather than built foundations. Every new manager arrived with promises and left with excuses. When Amorim took over, there was hope, structure, modern ideas, pressing concepts. But football doesn't reward theory without results. 18 months, 1.5 seasons, and only 2 consecutive wins. That's not momentum, that's survival. United weren't collapsing, but they weren't moving forward either. They were stuck in between. Michael Carrick walked into that reality with no grand speeches, no revolutionary slogans, just clarity. And clarity is dangerous, because Carrick didn't try to reinvent Manchester United. He tried to remember them. To understand the scale of this result, you have to understand what the Emirates had become. Not just a stadium, a statement. 7 consecutive unbeaten matches against Manchester United. 12 matches without defeat against them overall. 8 wins in that run. Arsenal didn't just beat United, they controlled them. And at home, forget about it. The last time Manchester United won at the Emirates was 9 years ago. A night so desperate it required 14 saves from the goalkeeper just to escape alive. That wasn't dominance, that was survival. This season, the Emirates was something else entirely. Unbeaten, unbreached, a defense so stable it went 83 consecutive matches without conceding more than 2 goals. Gabriel and Saliba, the best center-back partnership in the league. Disciplined, aggressive, almost flawless. No visiting team came here expecting goals. Until this one did. From the first whistle, something felt different. Not frantic, not desperate. Manchester United were calm. That's what stood out.
They didn't chase the ball aimlessly. They didn't press blindly. They didn't panic when Arsenal settled into possession. This wasn't a team hoping Arsenal would make mistakes. This was a team waiting for them. Carrick understood something fundamental. Arsenal don't lose control often, but when they do, they don't know how to recover it. So United didn't fight Arsenal where Arsenal was strongest. They attacked the spaces Arsenal thought were protected. On paper, Arsenal's numbers are elite. 40 league goals, controlled possession, territorial dominance. But dig deeper and the truth becomes uncomfortable. 14 of those 40 goals came from set pieces or penalties. That's 35% of their Premier League goals. Efficient? Absolutely. But when nearly half your threat comes from dead balls, your margin for error shrinks, because open play chaos exposes structure, and chaos arrived. Manchester United didn't allow Arsenal to settle into rehearsed patterns. They disrupted build-up lanes. They blocked predictable progressions, and suddenly, Arsenal were forced to create, not execute. That's where the cracks appeared. The first goal wasn't just a goal, it was a warning. For the first time this season at home, Arsenal looked unsure. Their spacing collapsed. Their defensive distances stretched. Gabriel and Saliba, usually flawless, hesitated. That hesitation was enough. Manchester United smelled vulnerability. This wasn't the Emirates Arsenal knew. This was a fortress with a door slightly open. Then it happened again and again. For the first time this season, Arsenal conceded 3 goals at home. For the first time ever, Gabriel and Saliba started together at the Emirates and still conceded 3. History fell quietly. The unbeaten home run collapsed. The defensive streak ended. The illusion of invincibility shattered, and the crowd felt it. Not anger, not shock, silence. Because silence is what happens when certainty dies. This defeat hurt Arsenal beyond the scoreline. Before this this match, the title race still felt alive. Messy, but alive. Dropped points had been disguised as control. Draws explained away as patience, but patience doesn't win leagues. If Arsenal had beaten Liverpool earlier, they would have closed the gap to 12 points. Instead, meaningless draws piled up. Now, they sit 4 points behind, watching the title race fracture. One path leads to Manchester City, another to Aston Villa. Arsenal are no longer leading, they're chasing. And the worst part? This realization came after just 23 games. The league didn't end here, but belief did. This wasn't about formations or clever tweaks. This was about understanding moments. Carrick didn't ask United to dominate the Emirates. He asked them to respect it and then exploit it. He ended a 7-game unbeaten run for Arsenal against United, a 12-match winless streak for United, a 9-year drought at the Emirates, an 83-match defensive record in 2 games, 2 wins. That's not coincidence. That's clarity. This wasn't the night Arsenal lost the league. It was the night they realized they could. And this wasn't the night Manchester United shocked the football world. It was the night they reminded it who they are when led by someone who understands the club rather than tries to redesign it. Michael Carrick didn't bring miracles. He brought understanding. And sometimes that's enough to tear down a fortress. At the Emirates, against history, against belief, football waited patiently for this moment. And when it arrived, it changed everything. Long before the first whistle, the warning signs were already there. Arsenal hadn't won 3 consecutive Premier League games. From a possible 9 points, they had taken just 2. Not defeats, not disasters, but something more dangerous: stagnation. In a title race, draws don't keep you alive. They slowly suffocate you. And yet, Arsenal arrived at this game pretending everything was fine. The illusion of a strong start. For the first 30 minutes, Arsenal were impressive, aggressive, confident, sharp. They pinned Manchester United deep. They pressed with intensity. They forced United into survival mode. So complete was the dominance that United couldn't complete a single pass in Arsenal's final third. It looked like a matter of time, but football doesn't reward dominance without damage. Arsenal scored 2 hollow goals that looked good on the scoreboard but changed nothing in the emotional balance of the match. They didn't kill United. They didn't break belief. And when you fail to do that, you invite chaos. The turning point wasn't tactical.
It was psychological. The moment Manchester United scored, Arsenal disappeared. Not physically, mentally. The calm vanished. The structure dissolved. The pressure of the title race flooded in. Suddenly, players who had been confident stopped enjoying the ball. Passes became rushed. Touches became heavy. 3 individual mistakes followed. Not because Arsenal lacked quality, but because pressure exposes fear, and fear spreads faster than any tactical flaw. The goal involving Zubimendi wasn't just an error. It was a symptom. A team unsure of itself. A midfield disconnected from its defense. A player caught between safety and bravery, choosing neither. From that moment on, Manchester United smelled blood. And when United smell blood, they don't hesitate. They hunt. After that goal, the match changed tone completely. United stopped reacting. They started dictating. They sliced through Arsenal with precision and confidence. They played as if the Emirates no longer intimidated them. Every transition looked dangerous. Every forward movement felt purposeful. Arsenal weren't being beaten. They were being dissected. Manchester United's 3 goals weren't scrappy. They weren't lucky. They were ticket-worthy goals. The kind fans replay in their minds for days. The kind you remember long after the season ends. Each goal carried intention. Each goal carried belief. And belief is contagious. All week, Manchester United fans had said it, quietly at first, then louder. We can beat Arsenal. In every conversation, every debate, every comment section. And Arsenal fans dismissed it because confidence becomes arrogance when it goes untested. This match tested it, and it failed. This wasn't new. That's the most damning part. For 3 consecutive seasons, Arsenal's title challenges have collapsed under pressure. Different opponents, different moments, same outcome. The chaos isn't accidental. It's structural. New players arrived this season, added quality, added depth, but instead of fixing the problem, they absorbed it. Fear doesn't disappear just because talent arrives. It has to be confronted, and Arsenal haven't confronted it yet. This Arsenal side is gifted, but leadership isn't talent. It's behavior under stress. And under stress, Arsenal retreat. They hesitate. They overthink. They lose initiative. That's why they're no longer leading the Premier League. They didn't lose the top spot because they were outplayed all season. They lost it because they couldn't handle the moments that define champions. Now, Arsenal fans are searching for explanations, searching for comfort, searching for somewhere to place the blame. But the truth is uncomfortable. There is no quick fix. This is about mentality, about leadership, about learning how to suffer without collapsing. This was a night when Arsenal needed individuals to rise. They didn't. Gabriel Jesus started the match. He held the ball well, better than Victor Gyökeres in build-up. But impact isn't about touches. It's about consequence. And Jesus produced none. Eze came on, expected to change the rhythm, to bring imagination. Nothing happened. Noni Madueke? The Arsenal fans had reached the point where they said, "Don't even remind us." And perhaps the most telling moment of all, Arsenal, desperately searching for a third goal, lost possession. From that same ball, they conceded. The same ball they restarted the game with became the weapon used against them. That's not bad luck. That's a team unraveling. This match didn't expose Arsenal's quality. It exposed their fragility. And it didn't announce Manchester United's return. It reminded everyone of something older. When United believe, they don't need dominance, they need moments. Michael Carrick understood that, and Arsenal didn't. The bigger picture. Arsenal still have games left, still have points to fight for, but title races aren't about mathematics. They're about belief, and belief cracked at the Emirates. This wasn't just a loss, it was a mirror, and Arsenal didn't like what they saw.
There are moments in football when numbers stop being statistics and start becoming arguments. Michael Carrick's interim spell at Manchester United is one of those moments because context matters. 5 games, unbeaten, 3 wins, 2 draws, 0 defeats. But numbers alone don't tell the story. The opponents do. Arteta, Emery, Tuchel, Guardiola. 4 elite managers, 4 distinct footballing ideologies, 4 different tactical problems. Carrick didn't avoid them. He faced them head on. And United didn't collapse. They competed. They controlled. They believed. That's what makes this run extraordinary. Arsenal under Arteta are one of the most structured teams in Europe. Positional discipline, automated movements, defensive security. Aston Villa under Emery are relentless, tactically flexible, mentally aggressive, unforgiving in transitions. Chelsea under Tuchel, compact, organized, built to suffocate rhythm. And Manchester City under Guardiola, they don't need introduction. This wasn't a soft run. This was a trial by fire. And Manchester United didn't just survive it, they grew inside it. That sentence tells you everything. Because this wasn't about opponents underperforming. It was about United forcing them into discomfort. Arsenal looked unsure. City looked human. Chelsea looked blunt. Not because they suddenly forgot how to play football, but because United stopped letting them play on their own terms. Carrick's biggest achievement wasn't tactical genius. It was emotional control. Under Carrick, United didn't chase chaos. They selected moments. They knew when to press, when to retreat, when to accelerate. This wasn't reactive football. It was intentional. And intention is contagious. Players started trusting decisions. Movements became sharper. Transitions became cleaner. Confidence returned. Not as noise, but as calm. Once again, Matheus Cunha came off the bench and changed the game. Not with volume, with violence. His goal wasn't just spectacular. It was symbolic. A player who understands moments, who attacks space without hesitation, who plays like he expects to be decisive. Carrick didn't overload Cunha with responsibility. He weaponized him. And when Cunha enters the game, the rhythm shifts. That's not coincidence. That's design. Comparisons are dangerous, but sometimes they're unavoidable. Dorgu didn't play like Gareth Bale because he tried to imitate him. He played like Bale because he embraced fearlessness, explosive runs, direct intention, a refusal to slow the game down. Defenders backed off. Midfields retreated because players like Dorgu don't ask permission. They demand space, and Carrick gave him freedom. This midfield partnership defined United's balance. Menu provided calm. Bruno provided chaos. One stabilized, the other destabilized. Both assisted. Both influenced. Menu's positioning allowed United to breathe. Bruno's risk-taking allowed United to hurt. Carrick didn't suppress Bruno. He framed him, and that made all the difference. Another game, another goal. Mbeumo doesn't dominate headlines. He dominates scorelines, timing, movement, execution. In a team rediscovering its identity, players like Mbeumo become anchors, not loud leaders, reliable ones. And reliability wins games. Carrick didn't overhaul systems. He simplified them. Clear roles, clear responsibilities, clear expectations. No confusion, no contradiction. Players knew where help was coming from. They knew when to take risks. They knew when not to. That clarity removed panic, and panic had been Manchester United's biggest enemy. This run didn't just change results.
It changed body language. United players stopped pointing fingers, stopped gesturing in frustration, stopped rushing decisions. They trusted each other. That's not tactical. That's cultural. Labels can be misleading. Interim suggests temporary authority, but Carrick's authority wasn't borrowed. It was earned through understanding the club, through respecting its rhythm, through restoring its self-belief. Players didn't play for Carrick. They played with him. This team didn't need reinvention. It needed alignment. Carrick aligned identity with execution, and suddenly Manchester United stopped looking like a project and started looking like a football team again. This isn't a honeymoon run. This is a reminder. If Manchester United are organized, confident, and emotionally stable, they don't need to dominate possession to dominate matches. They dominate moments, and moments decide seasons. 5 games don't define a legacy, but they reveal potential. Michael Carrick didn't solve everything, but he solved the most important thing. He gave Manchester United belief without illusion, and belief, when rooted in clarity, becomes dangerous. This wasn't just a good run. It was a statement, and the league felt it.